Support for this podcast comes from Invent Together. I bet you didn't know that inventing activity by Black inventors peaked in 1899, and it has never recovered. Black and Hispanic college graduates patented half the rate of white college graduates. That's just one of the reasons why you need to know about Invent Together. When our patent system gets more diverse, our nation will get stronger and more successful. Find out how you can help diverse inventors and unleash economic opportunity at inventtogether.org.
Hey everybody, welcome to Love About Town, a podcast where two brown nerds discuss sex, dating, and relationships in an attempt to be better. As always, it's me, your host, Kenise Mobley, and
your boy Rohan, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. This week we have the wonderful Brian Yang, who we're talking to, and we talked about conspiracy theories, religion and dating, and first date etiquette. It was a really fun conversation. Take a listen and enjoy the pod with Brian Yang. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, we got married in 2016, so it'll be 5 years this year.
Yeah.
Which anniversary is that? Is that like paper?
Hopefully it's paper, because I mean we not doing good financially.
They're all paper until you get like a nice significant check. Then it's
exactly.
Like
I mean, being married to a comedian is very much like doing the stock market. Like, hopefully this turns out to be Tesla.
No, but at least it's like at least, you know, if you're married to a comedian, because you're also a comedian, it's like you guys understand each other. Whereas like I feel like if the income gap between like a couple is like significantly different, and there's always a little bit of tension.
Well, your wife is not a comedian.
No, yeah, she's a nurse, so the income gap is astronomical.
Goodbye.
What is it like to have healthcare?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, it's great because, you know, she's in healthcare, so the health insurance she gets is like really good. Like, I just got my teeth cleaned for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, does she diagnose you and stuff?
She can't. I mean, so I don't know if you guys know, but I got COVID last year.
Oh shit.
And you know, because she's a nurse, she was on top of everything and knew the symptoms to check for. She rushed me to the ER in an Uber. So yeah, she could definitely. She hasn't like officially diagnosed me as a healthcare professional, but she knows what to look out for.
Yeah. She's like, I'm like 99% sure you have COVID. Then you go to the doctor and you're like, yeah. Right. Now, did you get the access to that sweet vaccine as well?
Well, the cool thing, she's been volunteering to vaccinate people, so she's been able to, like, you know, she couldn't jump me in the front of the line, but she knew, like, hey, go to this website, sign up for this. So like as soon as I was eligible, she was like, okay, here's what you do. She was on top of everything. So
oh, sick. That's so nice.
Yo, Brian, yeah, send me those deets.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you guys want, I could. Yeah,
no, totally. I just got my first dose the other day.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
so.
I haven't.
What? You've been on Fallon. That should get you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do. They're like,
okay. Jimmy Fallon.
Healthcare workers, teachers, stand-up comedians.
Tonight show.
Yeah. If you got your break this year, if you got a big break in 2020 or 2021, feel free to go ahead and jump that vaccine.
Yeah, we need Kenise out there touring, dude.
Some of these places where people are indoors and very cavalier, no thank you. Whatever city it was where they were burning masks in front of their state capitol, I don't want to go there. Did you guys see this?
Yeah. Idaho, I believe that was.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to go to Idaho anyway, but now I'm definitely not going to go.
No, for sure. There are things that like aren't inherently racist that you can tell like that crowd would be racist.
Oh yeah,
like burning a mask is like they probably wouldn't like minorities.
Oh yeah. Have you ever?
If that's how they feel about masks.
I watched this YouTube series called All Gas No Brakes, and it's just this guy, and he travels in an RV across the country, and he just goes to these like crazy festivals, and one of them was like a flat Earth convention.
Oh boy.
And like, okay, so it's a flat Earth convention, and you just think that it would be about. They're just like the earth is flat, NASA's lying to us, whatever, right? But like they're all also like super anti-Semitic, and the flat earth thing It's just like you were saying, like, oh, it's the mask is indicative of some like other racial thing. This is just like you give the guy a microphone and he just starts going off. Like every conspiracy theory is true. There are no Jews who died in 9/11. Did you know that the Rothschilds? And it's just like, oh my God. Because I feel like
you have to get to Jews control the weather before you get to flat Earth.
Yeah.
That's like the top, like, you know what I mean? You know how they always say marijuana is the gateway drug to like cocaine and then crack. Yeah. Like you have to believe that Jews are bad, because then that's how you get to flat Earth. Yeah, I don't think anyone starts at flat Earth and is like, well, I'm not racist. I just think the Earth is flat.
Yeah, no. They were
maybe B.O.B. Do you remember the rapper?
Oh, that's right. He was really and that's right. There are a couple guys in the NBA too.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie was big on flat Earth. Yeah.
Has he changed his tune? Has he said something, or is he still shouting?
He gave a very half-hearted apology that was like, "Look, I said what I said."
It
did feel like he denied that the Earth is flat. It was more like, look, if you guys think it's weird, just leave me alone. But
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. And he's one of those guys like, do your own research. Like a lot of flat Earth people are like that. They're like, hey man, this is just the sources that I was given from Instagram and like TikTok and shit.
And YouTube.
Yeah. You go and do it on your own. Like research on so it like gives them an out to be like, look, like you don't have to, but it's also condescending because it's like, my research is better than yours. So
and all he did really was I know how this starts because these guys are on buses in a hotel room. They play, a 2-hour game and they have the rest of the 22 hours that they're just not doing anything. And I know Kyrie was watching probably like Michael Jordan highlight videos. And then he just went down the rabbit tube of letting the YouTube play by itself, like watch this next. And he went from Michael Jordan to flat Earth just in like the string of YouTube, like play next videos. And now he's, he doesn't believe
and when you're like as big of a star, like at any NBA star, Kyrie Irving's level, no one is going to say no to you. No one's going to be like, well, you're wrong, actually. Like no one's going to be like, hey, maybe like go down this route. It's like, you're the best. So you're never going to not be validated.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you're gonna believe this shit.
This is one of the things that truly baffles me, that people make their personality about flat Earth, because it's like it does. Like if it is flat or if it isn't flat, is this affecting you? Is someone keeping you from something? Are you like
right?
What is the effect? Also, the elaborate nature of the cover up. For nothing, for something that's not like making someone money that the Earth is.
What's the end game of flat Earth?
Yes.
No, the one guy. So he had a picture of the Earth, like the one that you see from space, and it's beautiful, and he has a shirt, and the shirt says, "Is this a picture or is this an image?"
Oh no! What?
Wow.
What?
Think about it. Yeah. And so like the guys like ask him, he's like, I think it's a picture. And he's like, I don't know. You tell me what it is. Like that kind of thing. Like where it's just like, if you do your own investigating, you're going to come to the same conclusion that I'm coming to. But like, I need you to do it on your own.
Right. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm just asking questions.
That's kind of like Joe Rogan's whole thing is like, I don't know. I'm just
plausible deniability. But I'm just asking questions. I'm just getting people on here. They got different ideas than me.
Right. Yeah. I'm just open to all ideas. And then they basically hold like the CDC on the same level as QAnon, which you can't do just because they both have ideas. Yeah.
Right. It's just like if someone, it's right. Oh, both sides we got to hear their both sides. Like you don't have to hear both sides.
You don't. And that assumes that there are like two equal sides instead of like 99% of people on one side and 1% of like one person over here saying something. That isn't a two sides of an argument thing.
It's an unfair fight because if you have the QAnon guy on versus the CDC guy, who's going to be more interesting? The QAnon guy who thinks JFK Jr. is still alive, other than the CDC guys who's just like, please wash your hands. And wear a mask. And the other guy's like, JFK Jr. has been hiding in Florida. He's coming back from the dead, and he's going to save President Trump. Like, oh, I kind of like that guy. He's way more interesting.
This is the crazy thing is that your wife must have more stories about this than most people, because like she's a nurse. So like there are people who will like tell medical professionals or like whatever, like any expert in their field, that they are wrong because they read something on the internet. And I feel like that must happen in the medical profession so much more than it happens
especially
anywhere else.
with vaccinations now. I mean,
yeah.
My last day job, this was way before, this was like 2017, so way before COVID. Just we got this alert because we worked with kids. It was an after school program that was like, hey, everyone, make sure to get your flu shot, right? Because the kids get everyone sick around fall. And there was this whole thing in my office of all college educated people, professionals working in an office setting, and many of them thought that the flu shot like gave you the flu.
Oh yeah.
Or they also believed in like, you know, some of the crazy anti-vax theories that the flu shot could give you Down syndrome or give your kids Down syndrome. And it's just like, that shit drove my wife insane.
Yeah.
And I was too dumb to explain because she wasn't there at work with me. And I know that the vaccine is good, but I was too dumb to like explain to them, like, no, it's like a dead virus and it could make you feel sick, but it's not giving you it. So it was just like a lost cause.
No, I feel you, dude. I feel that way so often where I hear something wrong and I'm just like, that's wrong. And then they're like, okay, but why? And I'm like, I am struggling.
I feel it here.
I feel it here. It's here and it's coming up to my brain, but I can't explain it to you as articulately as sounds to me.
Yeah, also, I love the idea that it will give you a fully grown adult Down syndrome. That it will change every bit of your DNA and it will revert. Like, I'm
it's crazy. And it's like, because American society holds celebrity in such high regard. Yeah. Like Robert De Niro's an anti-vaxxer. Jessica Biel. Yeah. So Justin Timberlake's wife, Jessica Biel, she's an anti-vax. Like very like prominent people who are on our TVs and movies all the time are anti-vax. And it's like, who do you see more often, Robert De Niro or Dr. Fauci? Like, you're gonna kind of, I think Americans will believe Robert De Niro, even though he's just a guy who was good at movies.
Guy. I liked him so much because he's like a symbol of American masculinity, and he's had a black wife or a black girlfriend for a long time. And I'm always like, you go, Robert De Niro. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I have no idea about his love life at all. I just know him in the Scorsese movie. I literally know, and Heat, obviously, but like nothing else about him.
Unfortunately, he's
every black woman knows that he dates black women. Okay, that's just a fact that black women are told very early. We all know it, and we're all like, that guy's cool. But now to find out that he's an anti-vaxxer, it's changing my entire opinion.
There are a lot of celebs that are anti-vax. Like there's like I remember reading this like when coronavirus was like, you know, really big in California. I mean, it still is obviously, but like there is this like portion of LA that is just a lot of like really affluent, mostly white people who have bought into this like wellness craze. And wellness is so obviously, you know, ill-defined or like nebulous what that means. But part of that strain is like people who are like, I'm against Western medicine. I'm against vaccines. I'm against like processed food, like only raw food. Like all of those people fall into like a significant category of people in LA where like that's why for so long there was so much coronavirus there, because there's just these people like
and these are well educated and financially well off people that just have gone so far into the deep end of like wellness stuff, like you were saying, and they wrapped all the way around to being stupid again.
And there's like an Instagram. I mean, I can only speak for, this is just like something I've noticed like in the last like 3 days, so I'm just gonna talk about it. But there is like an Instagram culture of grifters who appeal specifically to like rich like I'm just gonna say fail kids, like rich people whose families are rich, and then they've given their kids money to start their own business or whatever, but like the kids like just like in some like transition period type of shit. And like there's a group of Instagram people being like, if you give me money, I'll show you how to meditate, and then if you can meditate, you can be more productive. And it's like
they all have really an app.
Insane.
There's this documentary on Netflix called Pandemic. It came out like right before we had the shutdown. And it followed like some researchers who were trying to find a cure for the flu. It went over like what happened with SARS, and like the documentary is all about how like, hey, like it's not a matter of like if the pandemic's gonna happen, it's when. And then boom, like a month later, we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
But they also followed this Orange County white woman, Rohan, exactly like you said, who pulled her kids out of school because she was into like, we only eat natural foods, we don't want vaccinations. Like they have made it like a civil rights issue, which is disgusting to me because it's like their belief. Yeah, it's just like you can't infringe on it's my body, right? And it's interesting because it's about how you would think the more information available to us, it would make us smarter.
Yeah.
And it has actually made us dumber because you can find anything to basically validate your stupid belief.
Yeah. Oh, and you can find people who are like willing to give that information to you for free. You can pay for the information.
Yeah.
And then it like just validates the things in your head. And then, it's fucked up. We live in a weird information economy. And I don't know any solutions. Like, don't ask me for solutions.
Very problematic. I'm doing a research thing on it right now, but exactly what Brian is saying, especially people who are like not digital natives. So like Gen X, boomers, like greatest generation. And like the average age of our senators is 68 years old, which is wild to me. So they can't regulate any of this shit because they don't understand any of this shit, but they do take everything with the same weight in putting the same value on everything. I wish there was like a thing that ranked websites and was like, this website has an F. Do not believe what is here. Okay. I would put it on my mom's computer so fast.
The congressional Facebook hearing where members of Congress, our elected officials, were asking Mark Zuckerberg, like, how is Facebook free? And he had to be like, ads. Like, dude, these like they're so old. They don't understand. They don't even understand the basic concept of like websites.
Yeah,
like, these are the people. Like, we're expecting them to regulate these things to keep disinformation away from like the most vulnerable people, and they're just still like, so is it free? Like, how does it work? Like, it's so scary and sad because these are the people in charge, and it's and they're dumber than us.
Dude, it's crazy. And also, like, this was something, I'm going to just bring this back very quickly to dating for a half a second.
Yeah.
Because like, I guess I wasn't like explicitly bringing all of these things up on a first date, but I love talking about this shit. So like, you go on like first dates and then like women think, I like love talking about politics. I'll any excuse to get, I'll do it. And then women just think you're crazy. And they're not wrong. I'm like, not gonna lie, they're not wrong. Like, maybe this is the type of stuff you don't bring up like on a first date or like on a second date, or maybe you wait a while. But I'm just like, let's talk about this shit because
I love you setting the tone early though.
Yeah. You gotta set the tone early.
I made my wife cry on our first date, so it was like, here we go.
Walk us through that.
Please walk us through that, Brian.
So we had been friends for a very long time. We've actually known each other since the 8th grade. So we were friends all throughout middle school, high school, and then we started dating. I had flunked out of college and I was already doing stand-up, and then she moved back home because she lost her apartment. So she was commuting to her college. So we started hanging out again, and then we started dating. And so we like knew each other well, but like once you start dating, you start like getting more into like the nitty gritty. And then we got into religion, and at the time she was very religious. We've moved to New York, and that's all dead.
It's funny how quickly that happens for people.
Yeah.
I love to see
you can't live here and believe in God.
Yeah.
This is a godless land, New York City. But back then, this was like 8, 9, 10 years ago now. And our first date, we started talking about religion, and Rohan, like you, setting the tone. You probably wouldn't do this on the first date because you kind of want the person to like you. And she's like, oh yeah, my family, we grew up going to church. I believe in God. Jesus is important. And I was like, I think that's like all bullshit and fake. And like, there can't be, I was like, they can't be a hell, and there can't be a heaven either. Like, that sounds so like impossible to me. And like, that's what kind of made her very upset, because like heaven is like the thing that you want to get to. Yeah. And she was just, I think years later, she explained to me that she was just very sad for like my soul, because obviously the person you are dating and then eventually fall in love with, you don't want them to go to hell.
Yeah, but sure. That's a very reasonable assumption.
Yeah.
So that upset her a lot, that I was like, nah, I can't.
Where did you guys grow up?
We grew up in the suburbs of Sacramento,
okay.
which are pretty white and conservative.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Like it's California, but
Mhm.
for some reason, there are people who have Southern accents that we talk about. This
Yeah,
phenomenon.
there's parts of California that are the
Yeah,
South.
it's like, how did you get this?
Yeah, right. For real.
They think it's charming, and it's kind of an
Yeah.
affectation that's become generational at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because there is like farm country in Central California, but Northern California is just like you have the Bay Area, you have Sacramento. It's like very just, it's California, and it's just
Yeah.
weird that there gets this little influx of like the South in there. Guys with lifted trucks, everyone loves MMA and DJing, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
like
New
my
Jersey's the
hometown.
same way. I grew up in New Jersey, and there are, you know, the urban areas that, and then there are like you can see Confederate flags on people's cars in like South Jersey
And it's
and
like,
North
dude,
Jersey,
you-
but mostly South Jersey.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
like,
you're
the
in the
guy-
wrong place, dude.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Because at
Oh, I
least
just-
the people from the South can say this is my heritage. Like this
Yeah.
is not your heritage at all.
At all.
I mean, like that just is like doubly proves why it's actually just a sign of racism.
Yeah.
Right. Like people are using it as like, oh, this is our heritage. Like, oh, your white heritage,
Yeah.
that you're above everybody else. That's weird. So
I just wanted to quickly say that there are, like, you talked about how your wife was sad, like she doesn't want you to go to hell. That's like a thing that you should want. There's a group of people online who are fuckboys, but like Christian fuckboys, and it's like they don't care about your soul at all.
They just
But
want to fuck.
They just want to fuck. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very strange thing.
but
where
they
it's
believe
like,
in God. Like
they believe
that's like
in
their-
God, like capital G God.
Right.
And they're like, I am a
yeah.
follower of Christ, but
So
I would
it's
like
like-
to have sex with you. And
It's a lot
I
of
do not
like
care about your
the
soul.
Bachelor. Do you guys watch The Bachelor?
I don't.
I don't
Well,
watch The Bachelor, but I'm watching
so-
Burning Love right now.
Oh, okay. So The
Yeah.
Bachelor has this very weird like religiousness to it, I would say.
Oh, really?
But what they're doing is actually it's polyamory, which is against the Bible. But everyone
Right.
on the show, because it's like one of the biggest shows in America, and we're like a very Christian society, like the Bachelor himself always talks about how he's like, I grew up religious, I love God. God is
really?
like, important to me. And then all the contestants on the Bachelorettes are also like very religious, but then they like all fuck.
Yeah.
And they all call him their boyfriend. And it's
Yeah.
like such a huge disconnect from like what's actually in the Bible to like how they want to appear. And then societally, we all accept the Bachelor as normal. But if there was like a guy running for president and he said, "Oh, I have 14 girlfriends," we would be like, "Oh, that's fucking gross."
Yeah.
There's something. 14's too many.
Right.
But like they're all, I think that they all like, I think it is part of that thing where it's like, if I call him my boyfriend, I'll manifest it, right?
Yeah.
Like if I act like, you know, walk it, you know, what is it like, act as if. That's like what so much of the Bachelor
Mhm.
is. It's just like, well, they're with me actually, they're with me, and so
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course. But of course they're not. Like everyone knows what's going on there.
No, yeah.
This weird American version of Christianity bothers me so
It's
deeply,
so
where it is
bad.
completely unrelated to the Bible,
Yeah.
religious teachings, improving humanity. It's completely detached from that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
like,
very like fuck boy. It's like a brand almost.
Yes.
I just think it's so funny that like there are like Christian fuckboys who are just like, yeah, I believe in God, and like, you know, it's important to create a beautiful union between two people. It's like the religious equivalent of like the fake feminist guy who like
Yeah.
fucks you or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the other side of that. The side that we don't see because
100%.
we live in New York and nobody. And if someone was like believed in God, they'd be like laughed out of a date 90%.
But if
of
you're
the
like in
time.
the Midwest, I feel like this is like a very strong archetype that you would date. You would
Yeah.
find in the dating scene.
Oh,
yeah.
what I'm just imagining all the people who are in. So I went to a historically Black church growing up, but every once in a while I would go with my friend Paula to her very white Presbyterian church, and they had a youth group where like the guy literally turned the chair around and sat there and talked to you about God, like
Yeah.
that. I'm
Yes.
imagining all of the people in that grew up and are now just being fuck people,
Well,
women and men. But like,
there,
no, Christ though, Christ.
Justin Bieber's pastor, who was the pastor of the Hillsong Church in New York City. It was like this huge church. He was the pastor for Justin Bieber, like Kevin Durant. Like he became like a celebrity himself, right?
Mhm.
Then it came out that he was fucking this Brooklyn jewelry maker who was not his wife. So like he is like, I think their dude, because
Yeah.
he dresses really cool. He dresses in like Rick Owens like ripped shirts, and he's really jacked.
God.
He has
Yeah,
like
yeah,
big
yeah.
gold sunglasses.
He's exactly
And-
what you think he looks
Yeah,
like.
he has tattoos, but he's also like, guys, God's cool, man. Like that.
Oh,
dude.
and he was just like using the Hillsong Church fund to like pay for like bottle service and like hotel rooms and like
and to hang out with Bieber.
Yeah,
and
hang out,
NBA
exactly,
guys.
yeah.
And so he got fired recently because it came out that he was he's a fuckboy.
Yeah.
he's a fuck boy. Surprise, surprise. Jerry Falwell had the same thing where he Jerry Falwell Jr. I should say, where he like got kicked out of his Liberty University because
he was a cuck.
He was he got because he likes getting cucked.
And it's funny because that's the conservatives like that's their go-to put down to liberals and leftists, right? And it comes from like because that's kind of I think what they're into, and so they like push that out onto people. But it's like, come on, like if you were on our side, we wouldn't judge you. If you want to be a cuck, be a cuck. No kink shaming, dude.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would have been more cool with it. It was like, no, I fuck other dudes' wives. Like,
have you heard of this? There's a thing that Mormons do. It's called soaking. Have y'all heard of this?
Yes, and I hate it. But
It's so disgusting. It's
I don't
like
know
not
soaking.
disgusting. It's just weird. So like, you know your virginity is sacred, obviously, right? And so what you do is if you are with someone you're committed with, you put your penis in their vagina and you just let it sit there and let it soak. Soak.
That's that is clear. I think a 15-year-old made that up to tell to a 14-year-old.
Absolutely.
To be like, no, it's different. It's not sex. No, we won't move though. Oh no, I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to sit down. Oh no, I guess. Oopsie, sex is happening. Like yeah.
See, I told you if I just sit here and we move around trying to get comfortable, both of us will come, or one of us will come. Yeah.
I was like just one.
Yeah, one.
So that's like their workaround of like penetrative sex, I guess.
Oh yeah,
okay.
It's like Catholic girls who are like, "Do me in the ass."
Right.
Yeah,
it doesn't count.
Have you met any people who actually said that?
I have met somebody who. I mean, I met not just somebody, multiple people who have been like, "Yep, my boyfriend fucked me in the ass, so I'm still a virgin." I'm like, no.
No, you're just
to me
dissatisfied.
You just went to like, you skipped like 7 levels.
Right. To me, like anal sex and oral sex are more intimate than vaginal sex. And it's funny, like those are always the loopholes of saying like I'm still a virgin. It's like, dude, like getting your dick sucked or fucking someone in the butt is like you have to really like talk about that. You know? Like vaginal sex is the default. Like that's what everyone expects to have once you get to that point in the relationship. Anal and oral is like that's kind of how you really have to have consent for that stuff.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, shouldn't your printer be smart too? It is with HP Plus. These printers know when they're running low, so you always get the ink you need delivered right when you need it. Plus, you save up to 50% on ink, so you can print whatever you want, as much as you want, anytime you want. Huh, that is pretty smart. Get 6 free months of instant ink when you choose HP Plus. Conditions apply. Visit hp.com/smart for details.
I wonder, Kenise, you've never done anal, right? Ooh,
we don't need to talk about that.
Kenise.
We
can talk about it. It's the podcast, baby. It's the podcast.
Well, I don't. Next
Kenise
question.
has done anal. Okay, next. I was gonna ask. My follow-up question was gonna be like, I've never done it. Is it like, is there pleasure out of it? Do you get pleasure from it? No, right? Yeah, exactly. To do.
It's some people really, really like it, and so you get to those people who really like it. I've seen it. Women on porn say that they like it, but I'm like now searching the Rolodex of my friends who have done it. And I don't think anyone's like, oh my God, this is my favorite thing to do. But some people really get something out of it. You know, if you want to do a favor for a man, I guess you can do that.
That's what it seems like to me. Because like if you're like, if you're doing it and that's like your version of sex, that like good sex, then I don't know. Oh, actually, well, maybe that makes vaginal sex better then, because you're like, when you eventually do, you're like, aha, I was right the whole time, because it's going to be better.
But like, okay, how do I put this? There's more prep work involved. When it's just peen and vag, it's like, oh, you mean like a thing that's self-cleaning in a certain way, and you just boop it a boop, and then you're there, ta-da. Versus like, oh, wait, what did I eat yesterday?
Right.
Okay, got to do a lot of work to make this
Yeah.
a good situation. It's like not a place I go all the time. Like, I mean, I wash. I'm like a
Sure.
clean person, but like I gotta do a whole lot of stuff if I like. That's no. Can we just be regular? Can we just?
It's like a joke with a long setup and not that great of a punchline.
Yes,
It's like
exactly.
Just cut it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's do the thing with the really great punchline,
Right, and not too much of exactly.
Yeah, right. Sex should never be longer than like 30 minutes.
I agree with that.
I was never into like a long.
Some people, they're just out here trying to do stuff for like an hour, and you're like, we are both adults who have jobs. Like, if we were just sitting around like teenagers, nothing to do during the summer, maybe. But like, we're all busy, and I need sleep. So like,
if it's like you're both home and it's like vacation sex, I think that's totally different, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, Kenise, it's like you're a teenager. You have no responsibilities. You're just hanging out in the hotel. Then I understand like the multiple, like, but when you're just at home, come on. Why does it need to be an hour? That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, like you have like theoretically, if you're like in your situation where you're married to someone, like it's not like you have to get it all out in one go. Like
no, we're together. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be time. I think there's gonna be time. Yeah.
Unless there's like a feeling that like this relationship is about to end.
We gotta get it in.
You can just have sex again later.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are you guys dating during pandemic? How's that been? That's what my wife and I are very interested in, because we're very lucky to have like someone to be with during this time, and we have some single friends, and we're like, that must be so lonely and weird. Not to like judge, just like we think about
as a single person.
Yeah, it makes us sad. Like, so I want to know about you guys. Like, how's it been going? I've heard about people doing Zoom dates and stuff, or social distance dates at a park. I want to know about all that stuff.
I started a relationship in the pandemic. So,
really?
Yeah. So
whoa.
I'm at my girlfriend's place right now. Yeah. So
okay.
So like, we knew each other before, but like, so we're doing a long distance thing. She lives in Boston and I live here, or I live in New York. So, so we started that, but it was honestly, I've done long distance relationships, so it's I figured it out, but like, but I'm kind of lucky. I didn't want to go through a walk. A walk just sounds actually like, sorry, this is just my opinion. A walk is the worst type of first date. I'm so sorry.
I disagree.
Okay.
I have gone on a few walk dates, but it's only since it's been like colder, I haven't. I'm not doing that. Walk dates are fine. Honestly, at this point, like I ask people like, have you been tested? Like, is there a reason why you think that we shouldn't go to like a bar and sit across a table from one another? Because if you're coughing, if you have symptoms, if you've been like out and about, then no, we shouldn't do that. But otherwise, it's like I want to be able to like face you, and you can't do that if you're both walking down a street. And I also want to get food. Like I like eating.
I always felt like first dates before pandemic were the best when you could have some event where you didn't have to be talking the whole time. Like my big go-to was like bowling, because like it's fun. You don't have to talk the whole time. It's kind of loud, so like there's music, and then you can talk like in between your sets. Well, walking date is a nightmare because you have to be talking the whole time. And if you're not vibing, it feels like it could get awkward.
But you can leave a walking date at any time. You don't have to finish a game of
the woods.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, friend,
that's why drinks are a good date.
Yes.
Drinks combine the best things. You're sitting down, you're not walking.
Yeah.
There's alcohol present, which like makes things a little bit easier to communicate. And you still have that out where you can be like, check your phone, being like, I got work. I've got a friend who's in trouble. I hate you, like that kind of thing. And you can get out of it.
Yeah.
That's why
I know that you're against dinner, but I don't like drinking without some sort of food to like soak up. Wait,
Rohan, you're against dinner on the
dinner
first
for
date.
A first date? No, it's weird to watch someone eat. I think it's like intimate.
Yeah, he thinks that he
Okay.
thinks holding hands and watching someone eat are more intimate than like full on penetrative sex.
Absolutely, dude.
Interesting.
Holding hands, especially.
Oh my
Holding
God.
hands is like the
Wow.
most intimate, like one of the most intimate things you can do with somebody that you're getting to know.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. I like to know about like people's different boundaries and stuff. Because like for me, that's something you start pretty early on. Hand holding.
I'd
Just
rather have
because
sex
it's
with
like,
you
oh,
first
we're
than
like
hold your hand.
together. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so funny to me.
Right?
Yeah, you're like raw dogging. It's like, whoa. Oh,
Yeah.
don't touch me.
No,
though.
don't hold, no. No,
What are
cuddling.
you doing, you sicko?
Because like to me, I just always assume holding hands with like a really significant, earnest partnership.
Yeah, you place it
Yeah.
on like a different level. I get
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
a good first date move to say, we're moving to sex, okay? That's a great first date move. I truly, I went on a date with a guy in Barcelona, and like we went to a
Ooh.
couple of bars, and then we're walking like towards my Airbnb, but past his street. How convenient. And he like kind of takes my hand and he's like, what if we went this way? And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Or just like a look in the eye, a taking of the hand. It's like, I guess I'm going with this guy. Like,
Oh, okay.
maybe it's because like I'm a child. I don't know, but it is like
No, he took charge.
Yeah.
Something's about to happen. So that is a move. If they reach their hand away, then don't do that. But
Right,
it's
right,
a
right.
move.
No, for sure. See, yeah, that seems kind of romantic to me too, in a way, right? Like it's very like, I think the spontaneity of being whisked away is kind of cool. It's like for a guy or a
Yes.
girl. Like if a woman was like, "No, come with me over here," I'd be like, "Oh, okay. What are we doing?" You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how I feel. Here's the thing.
You think you're gonna get murdered?
I am like, I think this is what it is. I am inherent, like confidence is good, but I am inherently suspicious of confident people, like immediately suspicious. Like, and so like if you are too confident too early, I automatically see like, I'm like,
That's the
there's
stand-up
something
comic
about
in
you. Yeah.
We hate confident new comics.
Dude, I know.
It's like, why are you confident?
Right, exactly. That is exactly it.
You
Like,
have
you know,
no
you talk to
material.
somebody, you hear them talking about comedy, and you automatically know how you're going to feel about them on stage. You're going to be like, this guy sucks. And then they
Right.
automatically do suck. They like, dude,
Yeah.
you're on stage, like, this
So
guy sucks.
you've transplanted that into dating. You're like, you have
Yes.
no reason to be confident right now. You're not past it, Rohan.
Yeah, no.
You need to do guest spots first.
yeah,
I need to see you do a check spot.
Earn my fucking confidence. Earn your confidence with me. That's how I feel.
Wow.
Holding hand, taking that kind of initiative, which you know I've been told my whole life is good, or like, you know, women like that. I'm like, but guess what, baby, I don't like it.
So, Kenise, what was your like ideal first date before pandemic then?
Great
First
question.
date before pandemic. It usually involved like it was drinks, but it would be drinks in like a couple of locations. So it'd be like, we
Oh,
get
like a
drink
bar
here.
hopping.
Yeah, but like not an
scenario?
intentional bar hopping thing, but
Sure.
like, oh, well, we got our drinks here. Do you want to get another drink? Do you want to drink here or somewhere else? Let's try somewhere else. I know this great place around the corner or da 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 da. Yeah, I really like walking can be a small part of it, but I like eating and going from place to place. And at each place, 2 drinks are ordered and an appetizer because I need food to soak up the alcohol or else I'll get a hangover. So like, feed
Appetizers
me.
acceptable.
Thank you.
Appetizers acceptable. Eating.
The specificity of what
You can watch
like
them
it
eat
very- I
an
love it.
appetizer, but
So
you can't watch
interesting.
them eat a meal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No hand holding. If
No
you
hand
order an
holding.
entree, I'm out. If you touch my
Yeah.
hand, I'm out. Appetizers.
Also, I want to say dessert is
sex.
also acceptable. Just not a meal.
Well, how do you feel
Wild.
about sliders though? Because it's
Yeah.
almost an entree. Sometimes it's an entree, sometimes it's an appetizer.
No, when I'm saying like appetizer, I'm saying like Brussels sprouts. I'm saying like
Are you
dip,
fucking serious?
like
Brussels
dip, like
sprouts is the
chips.
appetizer you want? Not
No,
like
I'm
fries,
saying, like-
chips, nothing.
yeah, salsa chips. Great, great.
But
I'm just thinking because
with
my
Brussels
first date-
sprouts, you need a fork, okay?
Yes.
Unless they're just like handing If someone
I
eats
said
Brussels sprouts with their hands, don't date them.
I say Brussels sprouts because my go-to first or second date place, like that, the best appetizer there is the Brussels sprouts.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm like, oh, that's
okay.
acceptable. I've
What
done
if
it
they
before.
order off the sides? Sometimes there's appetizer and sides, and then entrees. What if they order off like a
That
truffle
side is
mac
fine.
and cheese? Okay.
The side is okay, especially if it's like something like French fries or something.
Okay.
Like okay, like yeah. But if the side is like,
what if it's like a bacon mac?
I don't like it.
Something's like dipping into entree territory.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's also very heavy food. Bacon and mac and cheese.
I have eaten
Right?
bacon mac and cheese on a date. I did not see that man again, but for other reasons.
Don't blame the bacon mac.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame that. It's because he was a
Well, that's the thing too, is that like I'm Indian. I love Indian food. Never taking a woman out on a first date.
That's
Indian
it. Yeah,
food, right. It's just
that's
too
how
heavy.
I feel about pho. Is a very rough first date.
Yeah,
because you're just like.
Yep.
Yeah,
and your nose is running.
Ramen
like,
or pho? No.
Yeah, soupy based stuff is like.
Gets,
you have to be married for like 7 years.
Yeah,
it get on your shirt somehow, like the slurping. I don't know.
This is what
maybe
I'm
it's just
talking
me, but
about.
it gets like on things. But that's like specifically a soup problem. Like with chicken tenders, you're not getting the same issue. You know what I'm saying?
The thing is that soup is like that pho can be very heavy at times too. Even though it's like refreshing, it's also very heavy.
Right.
So I can see why.
It's very aromatic. It gets into the sinuses and you start just crying and
Now you're talking
good breakup food though.
It's a great because you can cry and it's salty, so the tears don't really mess anything up.
You can fake emotion. You can fake emotion real well on eating pho.
like psychopath.
Top breakup foods. That's really good. Pho is way up there on the breakup.
Oh my
Soup
God.
is very sad. It's just like, why?
I just also like that, like you're seeing them and they're seeing you at their worst. So like if you're doing the breaking up, you're like, at least I'm giving them like a negative image of me to leave with. So they're not like, oh, I'm so sad. They're like, she does eat soup weird. This is probably a good thing.
Weird. Soup has a strange like finality to it because when you finish soup, it's very just like done.
Yeah,
it's just like okay, well that's like
it's not like anything you can like nibble at or pick out.
It's the liquid's gone. It's just done. Yeah, our relationship is like this. There's nothing left.
It's over.
Now as an activity, like I think activity dates are good too. Like going bowling on a first day, I think that's a good choice because you do it's the perfect balance of getting the opportunity to talk and then actually doing something and like having fun and like being able to like poke fun at each other and like
museums were fun too when my wife and I.
Oh, I fucking love museums.
Museum dating.
I think it just makes you like you kind of seem a little smart, right?
That's very important.
We were very young, so we had like student discounts. So sometimes it was free. I know in New York, if you're a resident, it's pay what you want. So it's like a very classy thing and it's free basically.
You can also get to show you also like, let's say that you choose a museum and then you realize that you both don't like it and you can make fun of the museum together.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like early on too, we would go, when we first moved to New York, we would go to see an opera at Carnegie Hall and we'd be bored and then we'd leave. And like, that's like a fun thing too. It's like, that sucked, right? Like, let's go get a burger or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's go listen to real music.
Truly, I do. Like, I know this, Rohan, you would hate it because it seems like akin to going to see a movie, but the best first date I ever had, a guy took me to the ballet. And I was like, we went to a ballet, then we went to this bookstore / cafe. Then we got a taxi. Then we went to a dive bar. And then
was this in Boston or New York?
This is in Boston.
Okay.
That sounds like a dream.
Right?
That's a great date. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a movie. That's like a drama.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's like a Woody Allen movie first date.
Rude. Fuck you.
Sorry. I know that I couldn't think of an equivalent director because it's not
soon.
It's like how about this? It's like a Noah Baumbach first date.
Go.
There
okay, I will take that. Although I feel like he's kind of like
he sucks, but he sucks in a different way.
Right. At least there's no he didn't like touch his daughter.
Greta Gerwig,
yeah, right.
But
right.
I don't know. I feel like that relationship was kind of weird. Whatever.
I've also heard that he's an asshole, just not in that like Brian said, he didn't touch his daughter or do anything pedophilic. He's just an asshole, like a typical Hollywood,
like a regular director.
Yeah. It's like one of those type of things where it's like very, very, very romantic, but also like in a way that is not overwhelming or cliched.
You can still be a little guarded too. I think that's important. on a first date because you don't want to be so, vulnerable yet.
Yeah.
So
No.
I always like going to something like a show because that's a break in the conversation. I think it's really hard to keep a conversation going for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
You're just like hanging out. You know what I mean? And you're just like, I don't know. Even though the beginning of a relationship is the most exciting time, you can also just be like, fuck, what do we do? Like, if you're at something or like the bookstore, like you can be like, oh, check this thing out I saw. Like there's things
it's so hard.
Yeah, there has to be stimulus around.
Yeah. And that's why I think museums, ballet, those are great first dates because you can kind of bounce things off of stuff you see.
Now I'm thinking about my second.
I was going to say, it's so hard to end a date. Like, I think that you're talking about like the length of time for a date. And I think one of the things is that, and it's just both people feel like, oh, it feels impolite to end a date. When in actuality, like you said, it's like if a date is like an hour and a half, you're like, oh, you leave wanting more. So it's like, oh, I'm excited for the second date. But no one thinks that way because they're like, I got to make a good first impression.
Right.
Yeah. I think comedy really worked well for that. To be like, oh, I've got a thing at this time specifically, so I can meet you, but then I have to go at a particular time. And if we like each other, you could even come with me to the thing. Right. Although that's kind of like you meeting all my coworkers, but like you could hang out in the back and not talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And like, we'll talk later. Yeah.
Unless you are talked to, do not talk.
Yeah. Like if someone talks to you, don't be weird. Don't just stand there silently because you were told not to.
Rohan, does your significant other do comedy or
no? She doesn't.
How have your people you've dated felt about other comedians? At first, we've been together for so long now, so that a lot of my wife's friends are comedians now. But at the beginning, she fucking hated comedy.
Yeah,
because she's like, you guys are mean, and I don't get like why you say that. Like she's normal. She's just a normal person, right? And the first thing, our instinct is to be like, oh, your shoes are ugly as fuck. You're stupid. You bomb, right?
Yeah.
But for us, it's camaraderie. But to a normal person, she was like mortified. She's like, dude, I don't like any of your friends. They're all me. And because she was dating me, they thought that all bets were off with her too. So that she would get a lot of the roasting. Now she gets it. But at the beginning, dude, if I'm like, hey, we're going to hang out with some comics at the bar, she'd be like, dude, fuck that. I don't want to see any of your
I think that, in my previous relationship, it like was, I'm of the opinion that I try to separate them as much as possible, like my relationship from comedy, because it's like comedy is for me. And like, I want you to come and see a show every once in a while, but I don't want you to be like part of the comedy life, like every day.
Right.
Like I want you to meet my friends. Like if we're hanging at the bar after the show, come hang out with us, but like, don't come to the show, that kind of thing. And I always found that balance difficult with my ex-girlfriend, but like with my current girlfriend, that hasn't happened yet because the pandemic is still going on, right? So there's like no way she can meet anyone.
It's not possible. Yeah.
So
I met her, and I know a few other people have met her, but
yeah, right. But like that's because she came to New York, and I was like, we gotta do an outdoor hang at a bar or at the park or something, right? Like I think that I'm gonna be a little bit different about it this time, where I'm like, come hang out.
I think that's perfect because my wife, if she wasn't with me, wouldn't even watch comedy. She kind of hates it.
Yeah.
And I love that because she likes me for me. And I went to a comedian's wedding where the wife and the family made everything about them being a comedian. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. I get it. You're a comedian, but like, don't make the whole thing about like, I'm gonna go to all your the vows were like I'm gonna go to all your shows and
that's a bad
I'll be your biggest fan. I'm like, oh, that's so cringy, like, dude. So when my wife and I got married, I'm like, dude, we're not talking about any comedy stuff. We're just like in love and like yeah. I feel like the separation is healthy.
Yeah, like I like my I want like my girlfriend to think I'm funny because of my act, like she just like likes me, like
exactly,
you know, like
right,
like our relationship bits are funny, like that kind of stuff. I don't need her to think that I'm funny on stage.
And I like that my wife is like, I don't want to go to a show because it's like that's like bringing your spouse to work, right? It's like,
I know No, I 100% agree. It's going to be interesting because she really wants to come see a show because she's like wants to know what it's like. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, you go ahead. Like that's totally fine. When it comes back, you can come to shows, but like not all of them. Right. Just like once every like 2 weeks, if that. But come hang out with us afterwards. That kind of shit. Like I want her to meet my friends and stuff.
For sure.
But and like I think that she is like really good in social situations, and so she'll be able to handle it. I think sometimes it like overwhelms people how
if a person is like shy, like dude's comic, even like the most reserved comic is like, on a certain amount, and like that can be very overwhelming for
or like they're really awkward and they're like quiet, and so, like they'll try to talk to them and like they just won't respond, and it's
like does that guy hate me? He's like, no, dude, he's just like out of his mind.
Right.
I think comedy has like warped my sense of like how conversations work, and like
100%.
because like I do go on dates with guys, they're not comedians, and I'm like, why is this going so slow? Why are they not being as silly?
Comedy ruins your brain, dude.
Yeah, it's
we
like
went
I
to see
have such different expectations.
You know that movie 50-50 with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt? There's a scene in the movie where Seth Rogen calls Joseph Gordon-Levitt's girlfriend a cunt, and the whole theater gasped.
Yeah.
And my wife, whose brain has now been ruined by comedy, she's like, why is everyone freaking out? And I think it's because like he called her a cunt, and she goes, oh, that's bad? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, you fucking ruined my brain, because I don't even know that cunt's bad anymore.
Well, it's bad. It's just like bad, but you're like used to it, so you're just like, okay.
You hear it a lot, and she's like, oh my god, this is sickening.
I would just assume the person's like British. I get to, that isn't a thing that like really affects me.
Yeah. Doesn't Hasmin have a bit about that, about like the worst thing you can call a woman? And like
that was a fight that happened on Twitter.
Oh, that was a fight that happened on Twitter.
Where you think that's a part of her act.
It's a fight.
But that is a fight that happened on Twitter. 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. Was that what? I thought she turned it into a bit.
Maybe she did turn it into a bit, but I know what you're referencing. And yeah, it's like, no, there's worse words you could call a woman.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There totally are. And so, like, yeah, that's like how comedy's like, wait. Yeah.
Kenny's, what do you think is worse, though? That boring guy date? Or one where the guy finds out you're a comic and then is like, oh, I also want to do comedy. Where he has like never done stand-up before, but he's like a New York guy where everyone's like kind of into comedy, you know?
I'm sorry. I can't, truly at this point, I can't deal with that anymore as a romantic thing.
I hear so many women comics talk about that, and I feel like that would be like such a bad way to do it. It's such a
turnoff because, like, on a primal level, and I'm not saying that this is the way I should feel about things, but it is kind of the way I do feel about things. The thing that attracts me most in a person is competence and interest. So like, I need them to have interests and passions, great, but I also need them to be competent at things that they are saying that they're dedicated to. So those are two things. The best foot forward for me is not talking about something that you only have a passing interest in, but not a lot of knowledge, when I know that this knowledge exists and is rather easily accessible, and something that you're not good at. So like, you're kind of failing on both terms
strikes
to me.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. And it also, I mean, there's like the feminist thing of like, oh, because a woman is doing it, you're like, oh, I could do that, but I'm not like, I could be an advertising manager. You're an advertising.
Totally. Like,
I always thought about doing like, it's
you know, and I feel like we've all been doing stand-up for a considerable amount of time, and when you do, it looks easy. It looks like you're just talking, right? Like, Kenny's, your set on Fallon just looks so light and flowing and conversational, and a dumbass dude who sees that is always going to be like, I could do that. Yeah. Because that's how I am at work.
It's also like the biggest, it's sort of like, I don't know if it is, I used to think it was an insult, but now I think it's I think it's actually quite a compliment. If like someone comes up to you and is like, hey, I've been thinking about doing, I saw you, I've been thinking about doing stand-up. And at first I thought it was an insult because like, oh, they think they're doing what I'm doing. But actually the best stand-up is like, if you make it look so easy.
Right.
They think that
and they don't even understand how many years
you're totally right.
To get to
it's
that
coming from a
point.
place of sexism on dates, but like it also is that. Yeah.
I mean, just like, but I don't think that you do that with other art forms. Like like this is, and maybe it's like, I'm not trying to pour me or just look at it from my situation. And maybe I should talk to more actors about this. But if you see someone who's just like Academy Award winning person, like, I don't think my first reaction would be to go up to them and be like, that was so naturalistic. I think I could do what you do.
Yeah,
like,
especially knowing from the other side of like how hard it is to get a set on late night, like how many edits go through that, how many barriers there are, and then to have someone just completely be like, oh, that I could probably, because I've had and it's always men, it's never women, come up to me and be like, you know, and this is just bar shows and stuff, and be like, oh, I could totally do that and make money. And it's like,
Could
dude,
you
understand? Like to get booked
try
on this show where I'm getting drink tickets was so hard.
Yeah.
To get to the point to make no money in stand-up is like really fucking hard.
Yeah. Truly. That's a great way
and
to put
get to the point, like I know people who have been on late night who are still not making money in stand-up, right? Like to get to the point where you're financially like secure in this, like when someone just throws it like it's nothing, you know, that's what's kind of, it is a high compliment because they are saying like, man, you make it look so good, but it's also like, dude, please try because it's really fucking hard.
I love seeing those people try and fail. Like, yes, you're funny to your friends who've known you for 10 years, who you have like an endless, like deep bench of like group friend bits, but like to a room full of strangers, it's a completely different situation. But also like the people who are saying that to me aren't people who I'm like, you should do stand. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the jokes that I've heard them tell, I'm like, no, you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what a setup and a punchline is. There's no surprise. There's not a buildup. You've included 5 minutes of extraneous information.
that's like the classic green comic, is just like, dude, so much information that we didn't need.
Yeah, that's not adding to it. It's not related to the bit at all. Shut up.
My girlfriend and I were really, really high, and she was like, I have a joke I think would be really funny. And I was like, and we were both high, and when I was listening, and I was like, yeah. And I was like really excited. I was like, because I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was like, go nuts. Tell me. And it was exactly that. It was like 3 paragraphs of information. And it's funny because she had the idea of the joke, and I was like, "Oh, you're almost there." I was like, "You need a killer punchline right now." And then I was like, "It's gonna come," and then it didn't come, and I was like laughing so much. I was like, "Yes," I was like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's always
this is bad. You understand how hard this is.
Someone did that on a date where it's like, it's a first date and they were like, oh, you're a comedian. Like, let me tell you these jokes I've been thinking of. And I'm like, please don't do that.
No, please do not. Yeah.
I would almost rather the person like have no comedic knowledge at all and just kind of like ask then like also try to be right there with you. Other than like, you want someone right at your level or someone who's like doesn't understand it at all, so you can have like differences to talk about. But if they're like completely like off base and like just like think they're funny, that would be horrendous.
I also judge people on what they find funny. And I feel so bad about that sometimes.
Why?
I don't know, because we're so close to it. I feel like we're just, you know, my taste in comedy has changed from when I started comedy because I just know more about it. And so like you're talking to somebody who inherently doesn't think about comedy in the same way as you do. And it's not that makes that wrong. It's just different because they're not doing it. And so then I feel a little bit bad judging them on their humor because I'm like, you're just not as close to it as I am.
Well, I think there's a difference between them liking like hack stuff and them liking stuff that's like, if you believe that premise and your ideas go to where that punchline is, you hate women. Like for you to find that funny, you have to be like, women are dumb cunts who always be lying.
Yeah.
I think for my wife and I, it's the thing that separates our comedic we have a lot of similarities. Like she loves Schitt's Creek and Parks and Rec, like the big like widely appealing stuff that's like good, she likes. And then like the more broad stuff that people think, like comedians think that suck, like, you know, like maybe like a Kevin James movie or something. She also knows like that's not the best stuff, but the stuff she can't really get into at all is like, I think you should leave. She's like, this is just too fucking weird, man. Like she's like awkwardness, she can't really. And that whole show was like, just he's like, I'm driving up the fucking awkwardness in every sketch, and she's just like, I can't do this.
I relate to your wife, truly. I like the show, but my body will stand me up and walk me out of a room because it's like it's so hard for me to watch someone embarrass themselves.
And that's just what he's doing.
Oh, it's so great.
I binged it in a day. And she was like, I'm out. I can't do this.
I was really afraid to introduce my girlfriend to the Eric Andre show because it's something that I'm like so into. And she watched it and she was like, this is the best. And I was like,
good.
Yes. I was like, whoo. We got like super high and watched it and it was like, whoo, all right. That's cool.
I can't wait for the movie he's doing, dude.
He's doing an Eric Andre movie.
Yeah, it's coming out on Netflix on March 26th.
Sick.
And it's Jackass style, where he's doing it to real life people. Well, it's similar to his show.
Yeah. It's like, It's like
but I can't wait. It looks really, really funny.
Yes. Okay. Sweet. That rules.
I was like, you don't have a calendar, and I know that because you make fun of me for having a calendar. But I do see you penciling that down. Like, okay, March 26. Okay, make sure I have weed.
I use my phone calculator, just not a
phone calculator.
Calendar.
Denise, do you have a physical calendar?
I do.
Oh my God.
I just bought one. Oh yeah, I bought mine's smaller, but I just bought something like that because I feel like I need. Oh my God, look at you,
days
looking busy, baby.
To-do list.
Have you ever seen Kenise at a show where like the show, whatever, the comics are on stage, the audience, everything is going fine. Kenise has either done her set or is going to do her set at some point, and she's just has her calendar open and she's just like writing notes about God knows what. Maybe it's about something she's supposed to do tomorrow. Maybe it's about her set. Maybe it's about something. But her calendar's open and she's just writing. I'm
trying to start doing that because I feel like pandemic has been so unstructured that I feel like if I have this book, this physical book that I write things in, it'll give me structure.
Yes, it's
like
so
make
useful.
Dinner, go to the park, just like literally not even like big things, but just like
it's like a to-do list.
Shit I can cross off.
But assigning times to them is really helpful if you are having difficulty with like structuring your day. I find it so useful. I do the thing where at the end of the day I write down in a list like these are all the things I have to accomplish tomorrow, and I don't assign them most of them times unless it's like a meeting that happens at a particular time.
Sure.
But then in the morning, like as I'm getting ready, I'm like, okay, I got up late, so actually I won't start this until about 10. So like 10 to 12, I'm doing this. 12 to this.
So it's malleable. It's not so rigid.
Yeah, it's malleable. It respects the fact that like some days the situation isn't going to be great, and you're going to need to have a lot of time to just veg out. But some days are like you feel productive today, and you're going to take advantage of that by doing this.
Do you plan out like writing time? For me, writing, and I know it doesn't have to be this way. It's just the way I've like grown comfortable in doing it. Writing is just like very like whenever I feel like it, right? Yeah. But I know some comics are like I write every day from 8 a.m. to noon, and then I eat lunch, and then I write again. Like I can't really write like that. I feel like it has to like come. It has to strike me. I respect the hell out of people who can do that. I cannot imagine sitting down for 4 hours looking at my screen. That causes me so much stress. Because I don't know how the funny can get inside your body that way.
Yeah, it feels like psychotic.
Right? It like I'm going to the comedy office, putting in my time card. All right, here comes the joke.
Yeah.
Like for some people that works for them, and like they're like, okay, I've set up my brain in such a way that it is more active during this time naturally now, just over the course of having done this for so long. Yeah. But for me, I put in blocks of time. Like I'll be like, I'm doing this from 10 to 12. And sometimes I'll be like from 1 to this. So I'll just leave these blank periods of time. And then I try to fill those with some sort of writing. But
a productive thing.
I can't my friend was reading over a packet that I was working on, and I was just like so stressed. And he's like, Kenise, you've been staring at a screen for 4 hours. Like that's why you're like, get up, like go on a walk, do something else. Your brain will continue running this script in the background.
Did you guys ever watch Mad Men?
Yes.
My favorite thing about Mad Men, I'm a huge fan of the show, is when Don would just take a nap. Because I'm like, that's part of the process. Sometimes you got to just be like, I have no ideas right now. Hopefully when I wake up, something good hits.
I pace. I'm a big pacer. Okay, so like if I have something that I need to do and I pace and I think about it, but I also worry, like, you worry, you think, you worry, you think, and then you're like, okay, I'm done pacing. Got to start. And then that's like the thing. Yeah, that's like
putting your brain somewhere else, I think is key for me. Otherwise, I spiral into a deep panic
pandemic has sucked so much because I like to like walk and go out into the world and like find different coffee shops to write.
Yes.
Because just the different visual stimulus, like I think, I don't know, helped me in some way. Like maybe one day I could go to Starbucks and then a little mom and pop coffee shop, just switch it up. And now just writing every day, like in my bed. It's just like, dude, there's no funny ideas in this room anymore.
I know.
It's so silly how much I miss coffee shops. Like, I don't drink coffee. I only drink tea. I make tea at my house, but something about that environment, has
I
become
like
a part
hearing
of
the
who I
clinking
am.
of the glasses and the
Yes.
smell and like, it just the whole thing. One time
I
I
think it's
saw
just
Ben
that you're, like,
Stiller
not
in the
at-
coffee shop, and that
Yeah, you're
felt
not at
nice.
home.
Yeah.
You're not at home. You like feel like you're somewhere and you're doing something,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is you're doing. Maybe you're just writing. Maybe you're just sitting and having a drink, like whatever. It's just like a change of pace. And I miss that so much. It's so vital.
Even if you could just like, even if it wasn't like a real show busy thing, you could set a meeting at a coffee shop, and that felt so productive, right?
Yes.
Even if it's just
yeah.
like you and a friend going over bits, it's like, dude, we're really like doing
We're
comedy.
doing it,
Yeah.
Yes, totally. You nailed it. Because I worked at a coffee shop for my day job, and I saw so much of that happening.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, not comedy related, just like in general. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And I was like, oh wait, this is what comedy is like too. Like when I'm writing.
Yeah, it's like a networking thing. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys are both half vaccinated. I'm gonna hit you up, Brian, for additional information. So
I will definitely send you that stuff.
Full vaccinated, because hopefully soon we can all be at coffee shops.
Yeah.
At the bar. I like going to a bar, getting one drink, just like looking around, being like, maybe I'll talk to someone I never do, but I just want to do that so
But
bad.
the possibility. I was never, I've been married for almost 5 years. My wife and I, we go out once in a while, but most of the time we stay in, but we just want the possibility. Like, oh, it's Thursday night. We could walk out and grab a drink and then come home. Like, little things like that. There's no possibilities anymore right now.
Yeah, that's the problem.
All right. Well, that is a natural stopping point. Every week on Love About Town, we wrap up with final thoughts. So things you've reconsidered, things that you want to reiterate to the audience, things that you just want people to know about you.
Well, my heart really goes out to the single people out there right now during pandemic. I can't believe the thing that hearing about Zoom dates and just like meeting people in that way. I've had a similar thing that I've thought about. I was doing therapy over Zoom and then having work meetings over Zoom and then also doing comedy on Zoom. So everything just became Zoom.
Yeah.
And it became like a very anxiety-ridden place.
Yeah, there's a burnout to it. There's an absolute burnout to Zoom.
And it didn't feel, because like before, comedy would be a comedy club, and then therapy would be a therapist's office, and then a meeting would be in a meeting place.
Yeah.
And now everything's just in, and I couldn't imagine also adding dating into the same sphere. So I can't believe you probably are going on dates with your girlfriend on Zoom, right?
Well, so this is what I've been doing. Luckily, I've been able to borrow my parents' car.
Oh, great. Okay.
So I spend 10 days with her in Boston, and then I spend 10 days in New York by myself, or like, with my, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like, so then we have like that time apart. But yeah, when we're here, like she was literally like, it's going to be 60, it's going to be 55 or 60. Can we make a reservation at a restaurant and go out and eat outdoors? And I was like, yeah. And that's the first time like we're going to go on a date since like November, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like one of the things that we talk about is how like before like going forward, like we need to figure out what our lives are going to be when this pandemic is over, and then like figure out like big steps in a relationship. We're going to live together, like all that kind of stuff. So it's like we need to figure out what our lives are going to be after this, and that a little bit of that is scary, right? Because we're not going to be spending as much time. We're going to have to incorporate our friends, our coworkers, and stuff into our lives. So it's like we're both a little bit worried about that, but we're also excited about it. Like,
dude, pandemic is like very scary.
Yeah.
In terms of codependency.
Yeah.
Because my wife and I are around each other all the time, and we have 2 dogs who are now not used to us not being home.
Right.
And once the world opens back up and we have to be apart and then we have to be away from the dogs, I imagine it's gonna be so fucking weird and like strange and like so much anxiety, because you're used to your partner, even though sometimes it gets annoying because I don't think you're supposed to be around them that much. But still, them being at the office, you being somewhere else, I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. And just like they're not just like there for you.
Right.
Whether for better or for worse. Yeah.
The one thing I will say that's awesome about Zoom comedy is that when you're done, you can literally just go right back into it. I fucking love that. Because I was thinking like, dude, I'm in Harlem. I need to do shows in Brooklyn. The commute home would be like an hour and a half. Now I just shut my laptop.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to translate that to live comedy. My set's going to be over and it'll be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
100%. There's a lot we can learn